Good morning, beautiful human, and welcome to Building a Personal Brand Without Burning Out. Now, if you're new here, I'm Marjolaine, and I've been online for 10 years. My now fiance is away for 151 days, and I decided to challenge myself and say, you know what? If you can do yoga 8 hours a day, I can post one YouTube video a day until he returns. So it is both my way to track time until the love of my life comes back home, and also my way to share my perspective and take on growing visibility and a business online as a heart led entrepreneur, as a creative soul, as someone that chose to become a creator for freedom, to live a life of beauty, of impact, to not work that hard, because that's not what I want for you. I want for you to work just exactly the amount that makes you feel fulfilled. That's what I wish for everyone. So if you have been building a personal brand and it still sometimes feel like a mystery and you still get caught up in comparison, performance, achieving something, data, telling you you're worthy, or feeling like you're falling behind. Maybe you've hit peak before and now you're like, oh, nobody cares anymore. Maybe you've yet to hit peak like me. You've been online for almost a decade and you're still chilling in that 200 views zone. It doesn't mean you cannot run a really profitable, beautiful business. And this video is about building a brand that gives you trust, that gives you peace, that doesn't burn you out. I spent years experimenting, both in my own content and also through the lens of my clients' growth journey. I have many clients that have more followers than me, many of them that have less followers than me, and I've noticed that to build a strong personal brand, it is not about how much visibility we have, but it's about how deeply impactful our visibility really is. And I want to see this video as more of a perspective shift, a reframe on what it means to be a creator, to show up online, and how we can do it in a way that's actually soul-filling, not draining. Because I see you, so many of you, on the hamster wheel of content creation. And I know we romanticize going online, right? Woof, freedom. We're no longer stuck in this rat race. But if I'm honest, I think a lot of people with their 9 to 5 are more free than a lot of creators nowadays because we've made it our own self-made rat race. Yes, this is me clapping. Congratulations to us. We've created another matrix of overwhelm and productivity and comparison. And I do not want that for you. In fact, I'm actively finding ways for creatives to be able to express themselves with as little friction as possible. And in today's video, I'll kind of just free flow on my observation on what it really takes to build a strong personal brand and what not to fall into as traps because of my own failures and what I've observed in the industries. That is actually just draining, not nourishing, and not the way I want to shape this industry forward because we are so lucky. This is a new industry. The creator economy might be worth billions, but it's a baby. It's like not even a decade old. We have the chance to create a world that's going to allow younger generation to not overwork, to not be comparing themselves, to not be driven by performance, to not be driven by scarcity and fear that there's not enough for everybody, because whoever ever told anybody that there's no space for them or their dream, I don't agree with you. There are so many people in this world and business has no competition. Business is about owning a little marketplace where we get to offer something that is wanted. Everyone gets to do that if they want to. And what I want you to realize is that a lot of our beliefs about how we show up online are driven from scarcity. A lot of it has to do with we need to fight for attention, we need to fight for visibility. And now just to name a couple of our current enemies in the landscape. We have the enemy of attention. We've heard it. Attention span is declining. Nobody pays attention anymore. Nobody cares. We got to hook and glitch and blams and blats. So people stay hooked. And this is just caused by everyone accepting that as reality. So one of our enemy is the attention span declining, apparently. One of our enemy is the strategies, hook over production, making every solo creator an entire media team. and wondering why they're burning out, right? Just like the expectation of the production level and quality that has to be to such an intense level of editing has become an enemy of freedom. And another one is the competitive landscape that is now not aspirational but becomes detrimental. Because I do believe creativity is an incredible force. My own creative fire was ignited often by people doing their craft, being in their mastery, being on stage, sharing their songs or their poems, and having just like full body shivers, like feeling something. And I do believe artists and art is an incredibly powerful medium of inspiration and activation. Activating the parts of you that are still hidden, that want to be uncovered, that want to be seen, and reminding you, wait, no, you get to do this. One of my breakthrough moments was watching musicians on stage right before I left Canada for my year abroad as a student in Germany. And I remember telling myself in my mind, maybe in another life, maybe in another life I can be a singer. And I had been wanting to be a singer since I was 3 already when I was in my early 20s. And in that moment, I caught myself thinking, wait a minute. What is this illusion? What is this illusion? Is it time? Is it pressure? Is it I'm not there yet? I'm far behind? And this is a story for another video probably, but I ended up booking my first show and writing my own songs for the first time once I arrived in Germany. And that was such a liberating process for me. But I had some of those illusions of being behind, being, not enough. And you see it now with creators that have reached so much visibility and yet feel like they're just a small microcosm of irrelevance amidst those bigger creators that are so much more creative, so much more innovative. And that happens at every scale. Whatever you're exposed to can either activate you or it can petrify you. And I think it's really important to recognize the enemy of comparison out of the enemies I just named in personal branding, because we need to be aware of the parts of us that are not recognizing ourselves in other, but comparing ourselves in other. And that's what I mean by visibility of other creative forces can be extremely positive when it activates. But when it becomes a mirror that is an untrue mirror, right? Because when you look at yourself, at your own potential, we're looking at a true mirror of potential. When we look at ourselves through others, we're looking at a distorted mirror. It is not ours. It is not our path, not our potential. And when we look at them too much, that's when we get petrified and we feel like we're behind. But it's not. You're never behind for your own timeline. And that's why the way I now approach personal brand is so much more rooted in fulfillment and creative expression and alignment with one's true gift than it is about strategies. Because if you want me to spell out for you how to build a personal brand on LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, wherever it is, right? I've had clients build brand across every platform that that is known to humankind today. I can record an 8 hour video and tell you everything about, choosing a positioning and a messaging and creating content, all of the technical things. But what I've come to realize now is that knowing how to do it doesn't make it fulfilling. Knowing what to do doesn't make it meaningful. And I think it's really important to redefine now what personal branding is, not as just I exist on the internet, but as a extension of the life of meaning and fulfillment you're truly here to create. And that's why even now this journey that I'm just bringing you on, right, of me recording 151 YouTube videos is a journey of liberation of my own expression. Because for many, many years, I have edited myself through short videos, through not being confident about how I want to express myself as a musician, so appearing and disappearing. And that's okay, that's part of the discovery journey. But I think that the reason it took me so long was because a part of me hadn't fully tapped into what is easiest for me, truly. Because some people are incredibly gifted photographers and they love spending hours and hours editing on Lightroom or Premiere, which to me is mind-blowing because I don't like it. But I know some people are obsessed with lights and contrast, and that's their expression. Some videographers are just in awe. I remember the beautiful goddesses I hired to filmed me on a retreat, they were holding the camera and they were like, oh, yes, like the light, yes, keep going. And they were such hype girls and they were hyping me up so much, and I could see they were in their genius. And some writers, they get lost for hours in a coffee shop writing a book and getting lost in pages. And it's really important to recognize that even though the industry might make you feel like you need to be an entire media company by yourself, I don't agree anymore. I think that we've all been basically sold a model for business as a creator that is highly unsustainable and highly exhausting. We're told we need a huge editing team, funnels, softwares, camera gear, editing studios, content manager, content posting schedule. Like, I could keep on naming the list of everything we are in a way sold that we need. And you know what we're gifted with today? We're gifted with the internet and we're gifted with a phone. And those two are enough for any single person to find their way and their full expression. And I don't believe that we need to build media teams that are now creating complicated infrastructure. I believe that actually the path to freedom as a creator is discernment and knowing of self. Knowing what is our most magnetic way of expression, what is our true voice coming to life, looking like, right? Because for me, my true voice, I'm an okay writer. I love writing, it's fun. But I'm not a writer in my essence, my heart, and my soul. I'm someone that expresses herself through her voice. So for me, singing, speaking, facilitating, guiding, advising my clients one-on-one on their business growth, like, this is where I thrive. And very often I got entangled in complication. Even when I was early in my coaching journey, I remember comparing myself to other coaches and thinking, wow, I probably also need to offer my clients CRMs and boards and Trello and email follow-ups. And whoa, boy, was it draining me. I'm not an operator. I'm a type B person. I'm not specifically the most organized person you would meet. I love harmony, so I maintain a good feng shui through things. But it just was so not me, and it just had come from this space of pressure. And through the years and years and years of meeting my own shadows and my own resistance, now I'm really arriving to a conclusion of, actually, I get to just speak. Like, whatever, no cuts, no edits, just say whatever is coming to my mind for that day. Because as sustainable as batching content might feel for some busy moms that only have 1 hour a month to record the whole content, for someone like me that's already created a life of freedom, of alignment, my truest expression is just sharing whatever is present in the moment. And it took me very, very, very many years to realize that. And that's why I want you to now ask yourself, if I put aside all that I've learned that is technical around personal branding, if I put aside the noise of what I should do in my business, if I look at the kind of life I truly want to lead, what would fulfill me creatively day to day? What would be a devotion to my skills and my craft? Because some parts of us are also resisting something that we know is our space of freedom. And for some women that I've met and some clients that I've had, for example, a part of them sees themselves in the future speaking on stage, but they have yet to break the ice of speaking on camera. And that's not because it's misaligned or it's not their full expression. That's because there's some inner resistance and blocks to move through. But if they devote to the process of showing up, they'll find a pocket of freedom. And so I'd love for you to just really ask yourself now, if I was to design my life as a creator, as a business owner, not as I need to put my head down and hustle now because then it's going to be easier, but as what if I was to actually design my creative expression to represent the kind of person that I am in my space of ease, or devote to the process I know will give me my true freedom of expression. What would I do? What would it be? And perhaps a challenge is coming up for you to speak on camera. Or perhaps you're realizing you've been overcomplicating your reel and your edits and you don't like editing and you should maybe just focus on writing really good things because you're a good writer. Some people are naturally gifted at visuals and they should lean into that all in. Some people are naturally gifted at drawing. They should lean into that all in. Some people cook all day because they just love cooking and they should just put on the phone when they're cooking and talk. And that's why I think there's no hack to personal growth or personal branding. In fact, many of the creators that grew the biggest audience didn't do it from a place of strategy. You can backtrack strategy. You can look back and be like, oh yeah, probably did that and did that. But in the moment, it's just the potentiality of chaos expressed. Chaos is such a beautiful force. And I think it was in The Witcher. They called magic chaos, I think. And I love that analogy so much when you look at the etymology of chaos, because chaos is pure, uncontrolled potentiality. Magic, right? And chaos is good. Messy is good. Imperfect is good. Through the chaos, we find harmony. When we're daring and willing to keep walking our path. And actually, I think if there's one thing everyone should focus on if they're really trying to build a personal brand nowadays is not to learn more, but it's to peel back your own inner walls of resistance you've put in front of your own gifts. I had not realized I had put so many walls in front of my voice. And only when I look back, I see how many I already broke through, and I've continuously found ways to let my water pour through, right? To let it flow. The restriction, the contraction you're feeling, it is, yes, pot because of society and the wheel of pressure that's been created by the narrative of the collective and even the online world that's created its own infrastructure of conditions and rules and expectation. But it's also because we don't give ourselves enough space to sit in the emptiness and to daydream our brand from our mind, from our inner knowing, our intuition. Your intuition knows the way you're truly meant to express yourself. And I think that a personal brand should not be a template. It should not be a recipe. It should be a liberation of your true expression. And that requires honesty with yourself. And that requires truly looking at what am I here to give and how am I here to give it. Because it's not about posting once a week and having a good bio and having a good positioning and having a niche. It's about how can I share my vibes the truest way. When I was in high school, there was this girl. She used to fascinate me because she was an incredible artist. And she had been drawing since she was young and would draw the most incredible painting and pictures. And I remember thinking at times, am I meant to be a person that draws, that also has this mystique aura of introspection of spending hours in my room drawing? But it's just not my path, right? If it was my path, I would be on it. My path has been one of liberating my voice through singing and through speaking. And so when we look outside of ourselves at all these other incredible creatives, we're getting fractals of distraction. And we're not honoring our own unfolding. And that's why the way through is to actually reduce distraction. And if you are currently caught in a spiral of comparison, I will be making quite a few videos in the next 150 days on unhooking from scrolling and unhooking from comparison. But intentionally challenging yourself away from any external noise and opening daily devotional space for your creativity to pour through, and for your allowing yourself to experiment with what is the easiest way for me to express myself. If I was uncluttered by noise and strategies, and I was to just commit to finding my path of ease of expression, how would I hold space for myself daily? And it can be first built in the mind. Similarly to that YouTube channel, which I'm now using as an illustration for this purpose of the video, I never liked challenges. And I saw this, yap thingy going around. And the other day we saw an old video from my fiance from, I don't know, 8 years ago. And it was a video of him saying, "Hey everybody, this is my first blah blah video." And it made me laugh so much because in a way, trends just find new names for things that we all naturally feel. And that's okay. It's okay to build movements, and it's okay to bring people along when you like hit on something that moves you and that lights you up. But also, we cannot get caught up in this because the world always has gone through trends and cycles, but being a human has stayed pretty consistent. Like being a human is, not that dramatic. We want to feel loved, and we want to feel seen, and we want to belong, and we want to play and create and express ourselves and cook yummy food and eat yummy food. And I love to simplify the beingness of human, just the doing the dishes, the ironing clothes, the tending to a garden. And it's a privilege to be in that space of presence, to actually witness our own humanity, to witness our own beauty in being. But all of this internet drama we create, this career drama, this fame drama, this reputation drama, like all of those layers of theater drama we create are either beautiful or they feel a bit like a nightmare. And I like to choose beauty in the way that I perceive things. And so that's why I always aim to find ways to make my theater play, my drama, as liberating and as beautiful as I possibly can. And that's why I'd love for you to check in with your own drama right now. Or have you hooked into some drama? Maybe it's like this story that you need to get another client. Maybe there's a story that you need to hit 10K followers. Maybe there's a story that once you finally make this amount of money, you'll be able to relax and actually take a day off. Check in with your own drama. And ask yourself, am I willing to put this aside to actually give myself space to become my most fully expressed self? Because the journey of sharing your voice online and building a brand will always feel like a race if you keep racing. And it will only begin to feel like liberation when you give yourself permission to remove the timelines and actually devote to your own self-expression. And create challenges that are lighting you up. That's why for me, that challenge came in naturally. I had never been able to create a challenge, even for my audience, that I felt, I resonated with. I'm not someone that hops in challenges or does challenges. But somehow, with looking at how many days left before my fiance returns and seeing that number, I just had this intuitive inner spark of like, wouldn't it be fun if I just did a YouTube video a day? And that's why it can be very joyous to express yourself. It can be very joyous to challenge yourself. Similarly to that story I told you earlier about music. I booked myself a concert and I had to write 14 songs because I gave myself no other option. And that's always been really powerful for me, to just give myself some slightly unreasonable challenges where everyone would say, that is not, you sure that's not quite reasonable? My podcast, if you listen now to Your Secret Co-Founder, which is this, it's also my podcast now. But it used to be meditations, her morning meditation. It also was something else before that, but let's talk about the meditation era. her morning meditation came in as an intuition on the beach. I was thinking, wouldn't it be nice if my clients could have my voice in between our sessions to stay aligned with their path, their higher self, their inner North Star, their vision? And I thought that would be nice. What if I just dropped in every day and recorded a meditation every single day? And that didn't come from force, from I have to post every day. It came from, wouldn't it be nice to post a daily meditation? And I think I did it for, I don't know, maybe 2 years, a year and a half, almost every single day. Can't remember. 6 months at least. I don't know. I can't remember because it's been a while. But one thing that did happen, which really showed me the power of devotion without force. I grew the podcast to about 100,000 downloads, I think, in that time span. And I didn't do anything for it. Like, I didn't try to market it. I didn't push it. I didn't try to show up every day. I just committed to something that felt true to me in that moment for my own improvement of my voice and my ability to guide meditations and visualization, but also for my clients. It just came from my heart, and I was like, this just would be nice. It would feel amazing. And that's why I think the secret to growth without burnout is removing the illusions of force and performance and productivity and finding our own inner drive to create freely because we choose to willingly. And that doesn't mean there is a lack of intensity. And that's why when we bring that conversation of, masculine energy, feminine, I know there's been so much polarity online about soft feminine and just, attracting only, or just hardcore masculine and just doing 3,000 million outreach a day, The reality is a much more middle ground to this. And I do believe there is intensity with surrender. And that's the sweet spot to growth. Because when we force and when we are not willing, but we keep doing, that's when we keep pushing to burn out. Many people that are burning out at work are doing a lot of things they're not willing to do every day. They have to do it again and again and again. When we're creating our own world, our own business, our own model of creation, it's all made up by us right now on the internet, right? We are the pioneers. We get to make it feel good, or we get to make it feel the same as what we all left behind. And that's why the intensity can be still present without you feeling any resistance within. People now look at this new challenge I created and they think, but that's a very long commitment, like 151. Are you sure? How do you post a YouTube and a reel and a podcast and a blah, blah, blah a day? And it's not hard right now because I don't have my mind overthinking. I'm in flow. I just create and I release it, right? So there's no friction attached to it. There's just commitment. Of course, today I was a little tired. I was thinking, oh no, I'm a little tired. But commitment can let you go through those days where you don't feel like it, because commitment is bigger than mood. It's bigger than our preferences. It's deeper, and that's why I say almost devotional. And so you just make it a routine, and you do the thing, and you do it with ease and joy, and you let it be. My podcast was also a commitment, and it brought in beautiful results. I don't know what this commitment will bring, but I also have no attachment to it, same as I had no attachment to my meditation podcast. That's why it's so funny. Some of the things I tried the hardest to achieve costed me so much, and they didn't give me much. And the things that I did from commitment, from devotion, from my own willingness, that has nothing to do with comparison, nothing to do with expectation. It gave me so much, and it didn't cost me anything. And that's why I think it's the feminine way. It's the way of, we can be intense, we can be fiery. You've seen those, real montage of the feminine being like fire in the sea, and tiger energy. Yet there is surrender with it. There is a sense of, I'm just willing, I'm just doing it. It doesn't cost me. It's not from friction, from this energy that's draining, right? Because we all have energy. And when we are spending a lot of times in the draining energy, or the energy that's really pulling us down, weighing us down, that's when it's so unsustainable. When we're tapped into our natural creative force, our natural joy, our natural abundance, then we have everything to gain. And we can also approach it with no expectation. And that's why I think the best thing is, when you're asking yourself right now with your brand, the way you're leading it, if it's costing you a lot, you might be thinking to yourself, if I don't get what I'm looking for out of this, it will all have been for nothing. And I'll be so sad and so disappointed because there's immense pressure on you right now. But someone that just makes candles because they love making candle and end up making, a $1 million business with it, they're like, well, that's fun. But if nothing would come out of it, they'd be like, I'm still making candles because I like making candles. Like if 3 people watch my video, I enjoy sharing those insights. I'm literally alone in the mountain right now. It's hot outside. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to share this. So ask yourself, if I didn't gain anything, would I still give? And if it's a no, you haven't found your sweet spot. And if it's a yes, you found your sweet spot. And if you're in that yes, if you're in that ease, if you're in that, wow, I found my way to express myself, that's so true to me. And I can give freely and I can be committed to myself. I don't need anything. You'll most likely get everything. Yeah. Thank you for listening. I'm excited to deepen into this in the next few weeks. If this moved something in you, or you want to talk deeper about your own expression, or you'd like my guidance on this path, feel free to send me a DM at Your Secret Co-Founder. And I'm really excited to be here tomorrow, devoted to the journey. And I want us to change the way we see personal branding. Let's not see it as a recipe to success anymore. Let's see it as a space where we get to discover our easiest way to express ourselves and find joy and find commitment and find beauty in the gift of our magic, our voice, our wisdom, our songs and our poems. Yeah. I have a beautiful day. I'll see you soon.